So this week we're going to go to Wellington Camp. Before we were at the Royal Crown mine, and the Wellington Camp is just over the hill from the Royal Crown, and it's a pretty interesting area because there's a railway that serviced this camp. Now the camp had a whole bunch of mines, I think about 4 mines. I'm not sure of all the names. I know there's the Jackpot, the Raphelic, and a few other mines, but actually most of the ore was actually shipped from the Royal Crown to the Wellington Camp by an aerial tramway. Now, if you look on Google Earth, it looks like you can still see where this tramway was, but it's not a tramway. It's actually a telephone line that had been abandoned years ago. The actual route of where the tramway is, the trees are growing up. It's been a lot of years, so I couldn't tell where the tramway was. So the other really interesting thing about this mine is there isn't a lot of places where you can go underground. The material is really crumbly there, and I didn't find any big adits there. I think most everything's either been blasted shut or over time it's just crumbly material there. Even though I did get down a vertical shaft and saw some really interesting stuff, and I'll show it with you. But the interesting thing about the site is you can get there with a quad or something, and there's lots of remains of real interesting buildings. I counted 13. So there's all kinds of old buildings and a lot of stuff on the surface for people that are interested in exploring that, and the old rail beds there too. So lots of interesting things to see there. And so we'll show you around the mine there, and I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, there's just so many caved in stopes here, I think that we're just really too late here. I think nature's reclaimed a fair bit of these mines and their secrets, and maybe 20 years ago a lot of these things would have been open again. So obviously there was a railway road here, but you can't even really tell where the adit was. It's a pretty loose area and it's all caved in. I found an adit here. And, oh, Max. Have a look and see what we've got here. So he's lost his shine. It's about going into mines. There, nice cool in here, huh? Oh, right on. So finally we found a kind of a decent tunnel here, maybe. Oh, except it's got water in it, eh? Well, we might not go too far. Unfortunately, I guess that's the end of her. Yeah. So I've determined I'm at the southern limit of these mines here. That's the one that just went into. So it goes a little bit further this way. There's some more mines a little further down the hill. So that would be the southern limit. This is actually the western limit. So these mines actually go in a fairly narrow vein. There's lots of them. There's piles of them here, but it's not very wide. Probably only maybe 100 meters wide. And there's a whole bunch of stopes. There's a shack there, so we can use that for a reference point. And we're just going to go down and start checking every one of these mines as we head down the hill. Well, there's another hole here, but yeah, it's all caved in too. Nothing easy in this mine. As you can see, that hole down there looks a long ways down, but it's not really that far. We took the rope and stretched it out, and right where the end of the rope is, that's where the bottom of the hole is. I tied a rock down, and we pasted off. It's about 40 feet, or 40 of my feet. My rope is 50 feet long, so we're going to put the rope down and we're going to go down there. Ladder's all tied up to that tree there pretty securely, and she's all sitting down in the hole there. So all we got to do is hop down there and have a look. Made it down the 50-foot shaft. That wasn't really that scary. That'd be our prize there, so. Oh, look up, way up, nice and cool down here. One thing is, if a guy's doing this, he should probably have a hard hat. I don't usually wear a hard hat, but if you send just a small rock loose, it's going to be a little tough on the head. So I'm going to find my way back in here. I was quite a ways in here. Hit a bunch of dead ends going this way here. But going back this other way here, it's kind of a bit of a squeeze going through that one part, but there's a real good breeze coming up in one area. So we're going to just kind of persist. I might have to dig a little bit to get through that area. We're going to persist in there, and then hopefully maybe we can come out a different area. Now it's only one little hazardous area is right here. Be very careful not to touch anything there, but that rock right there. I don't like the fucking thing's hanging there. But that's the only way we can get in there, so it's really precarious the way that rock is, so I'll just quietly sneak through here. There. Alright, so that's where we came from down there, I believe. Yeah, we came from down there. And we built a couple of nukterchuks down there so we can find them. And then let's look for that area. That big fresh, bunch of fresh air coming through that one area there. Yeah, well, it's not too hard to get out of here. It just kind of occurred to me I only had one light. And I wasn't 100% certain I came. So it's our worst fear that it's stuck down here somewhere without a light in the dark. Wouldn't be much fun. There's my nukterchuk. Not a good Eskimo talker. Nukterchuk. And then we've got one more in. Yeah, I made my way up here. Yep, I remember. That's a little interesting holes too, but he go down them. And up there. Kind of excited about that. Big blast of fresh air there. Alright, now we're checking out these mines in Wellington camp. I'm very close to I think this is the very highest stope that there is. We're near the logged out area near the top. And this is a pretty big, large stoped out area here. I don't know if it goes anywhere, but we shall see. So I don't know if those are holding them big boulders up. Somebody in one of the videos said something looks sketchy. I'm starting to understand what that means. Very, really fractured, loose material. This might actually look quite a lot different than it did when it was mined. Some of the areas could be opening up new areas of mineralization, because it looks to me like cave-ins would be pretty frequent in here. Just because of the way the rock is, it doesn't seem really solid. I like it when you're further underground because then you kind of get away from this crumblier stuff. Certainly copper, quartz. One thing I found interesting, I did a little research on this, is I always assumed that quartz was most closely associated with gold. While that's true in some formations, not the case everywhere. In the Golden Crown mine, areas that had a lot of sulfur in them, highly sulfurized areas, they had the highest returns of gold. So when you're seeing these pockets of sulfur, and if you're looking for gold, like, you know, like to me those are sulfides there, right? So from what I understand, those type of materials, if it's high in sulfur, they also had some pretty high assays of gold. So yeah, I believe this was a loading facility here, and I think they maybe had a tramway that loaded ore in from the top, and then there were chutes that the ore came out here, and they probably just backed a rail car right into here, or maybe even from the side. I'm not really sure how this was set up. Could have been one way or the other. Take a bit of a break from the mines, and we're just going to look at some of these buildings they have up here at the Wellington camp. They're pretty interesting. We found another mine here, and we're just kind of look at this cabin here. This is what's left of the cabin. Really nice built cabin. Looks like it just had a dirt floor, but yeah, it's a pretty large cabin. They did a really nice. Look at the detailed work on the joints and stuff. Really tight fitting, and they chinked it up real nice there. Looks like it had an actual chimney in here. Lots of bricks and stuff left there. Really nice looking cabin here. So here's just another building in the Wellington camp. So this has been the 5th building that I've identified right in this area here, and this one's in a pretty advanced state of decay, and I suspect that this actually might have been a barn, because when they first started here they probably used a lot of horses or mules. Today we're on the Ironclad mine, and we're just stopped on the side of the road here, and we're looking at an old, what was left of an old drag line. A pretty massive looking bucket on this old girl. And here's what's left of it. I guess they probably salvaged it sometime. There was the winch off the old girl, and here's the boom, what's left of it. So I'm not sure the vintage of that, but looks like a pretty old drag line, probably back from the 40s or before that at least. No, there's no hydraulics on it, as you can see, so this looks like it's all completely run by cable. So I know cats back in the 40s, they were all winch line. They didn't have hydraulics then, so probably 40s or before that. So that's cabin number 6 there, and just up the hill here we'll call this building number 7. Again, same style. I suspect this this building here may have been, it's interesting, they didn't peel the logs here. So on the inside here, seems how it's a pretty long building with a couple windows in it. It's probably, I would guess it would be a bunkhouse, maybe. Something like that. You could see maybe a bunch of bunks for workers on both sides. It's just a guess. I don't think it would have been, obviously there was a door here, so it wouldn't have been a barn, because that's not really wide enough for an animal to get through. So, and with the windows and stuff, I would guess that this was a bunkhouse. And here we're seeing building number 6. They're all in a pretty small area, and I'd say if they hadn't logged this, we'd never have found these, because they're just hidden in the trees here. So what an awesome view here. So we're looking across, that's the pipeline on the other side of the highway there. And there's the Highway 3 here. We can just zoom in here and show you maybe a little more clearly where we're at. There's another quick little shot of cabin number 6. Pretty well done cabin there. You can see they squared off the timbers on the inside and stuff. They're not just round. So they put a little bit of effort into this. Over 120 years ago, probably since they built it. Okay, this building is the fourth building that I've found so far as part of the Wellington camp. Now this is a pretty fair sized building here, and it's just off the road close to the end of where the rail ended at Wellington camp there. So this is the trail here that is actually the rail bed right above us. Now what's kind of interesting about this is when you see this building, which is pretty easy to spot from the road, from the rail bed. So the rail goes along like this, and that road going up to the right goes to the top levels. There's a whole bunch of other mine workings up here, so that goes to the top levels. This here is the rail bed, and it goes, if you follow it, to a trestle going this way under the hydro lines, going straight I think it's north, and it ends where there was a trestle that's been collapsed, but you can still kind of get around the trestle. You just can't get anywhere on a four-wheeler. You'd have to walk from there. It's all overgrown. But the interesting thing about this building, when you see this building, is there's a whole bunch of buildings below it. There's at least three. There's three identical buildings in a row. There's three identical buildings, a fourth, and I suspect probably a lot of other buildings. So this would have been the main site of the Wellington camp down here. Although there are buildings up here, further up on the mine, closer to where they were mining. So going to require quite a bit more exploration here, but there's an awful lot of buildings here and different mine sites, and we're going to explore. We're going to try to find as much as we can. It's kind of a little weird. I went down in there, and then the dog got in front of me, tried to push me back up. So I don't know, maybe he smells something in there. Maybe I'm just superstitious. It looks pretty skinny anyway, so we'll trust the dog's good judgment. So I hope you enjoyed this week's show. We had quite a lot of material, so I didn't want to try to cut out a bunch of stuff and be too long to put it all into one show. So we're going to have part 1 and part 2 of Wellington Camp. The one thing that was really interesting about filming this is I had a lot of preconceived notions that, you do a bunch of research and you have a bunch of ideas and how things are going to be, and then you start looking on the ground and you find out, you made kind of a lot of assumptions that were wrong. Especially with from the Golden Crown, they had an aerial tramway that went to Wellington Camp, and I saw when I looked at Google Earth, I saw an area you could still see a slash mark to the bush. So I think, hey, that's the tramway. I'll explore that and find maybe some remnants of the tramway. But it wasn't. It was a telephone line. So I keep making these kind of mistakes, and it's kind of interesting. So you'll have to excuse me as I go through in the video if I say something that's incorrect, because I believe it to be true at the time, but then later on you find out, no, you're wrong. Actually, one other really good case in point is I did a lot of research on dynamite, and I found out that dynamite was actually invented by Sir Alfred Noble in about 1875, and it replaced basically black powder. And so I never thought that black powder was used after that, because dynamite is so much more explosive. It's and far cheaper and easier to handle. And this is kind of weird. I went along a railway bed and I found one of these. And what this is a drum of explosives. It's black powder, and it says Hamilton Powder Company right on it. And what's really kind of strange about this, and I really can't figure that out, they never even bothered to open it. They just took a screwdriver or something and poured out. So that's something it's an artifact left over from the railway when they're building a railway into Phoenix. But the interesting thing about that is it was after dynamite was invented. So I don't even know why they would have still had black powder there. So we keep learning stuff about it, and that's what I really find interesting about going to these places. So tune in next week. I'm going to look at the rail line going into Wellington Camp. I've got some more underground stuff that I didn't show last week, and a few more buildings and a couple other things. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the show, and tune in next week. Please subscribe to the channel.